The realm of Americana music is a large and messy place. Nestled deep within the schizophrenia sits Wil Van Winkle and the Sixpins. From coffee houses to clothing optional resorts across 3 continents, these guys stop by Marquee Backstage to bear it all. Wil Van Winkle and the Sixpins, welcome to Marquee Backstage.
Thanks
for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Excited to have you. Excited to dig deep and learn more about you.
We are excited to be here. I am.
Can't speak for everybody.
We are too, yeah.
Yes. As a group.
I've been looking forward to this ever since he announced that we were going to be on. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. So, Wil, tell me your trek to Nashville. You've taken a few turns.
I don't know how long the segment is, but yeah, started off in Texas, in Houston. That's where my first live performance was. From there, I went to Uzbekistan, Central Asia. Spent about 3 years there.
In the military?
No, my ex-wife is a German diplomat.
Okay.
So basically, I was the spouse. That was what I was labeled as. I wasn't allowed to work. I didn't have the right visa. I did do some work with some local musicians there. You know, I did an open mic at one place, and the Russian mafia guy was like, "This is my American friend, and he's here to play." And you know, the band was Russian. We were supposed to be the first rock band to play Afghanistan after the international forces took over. But the day we were loading up to go to Kandahar, I got a phone call, and I'm literally on my way to the German embassy. I got a phone call saying it's off, they're bombing. So that got canceled, thankfully, because I don't know that I would have liked that too much.
So, leaving Texas and going to Uzbekistan, did you hesitate to kind of take a step back from music and know that you were going to be somewhat in the shadows?
My thought was that if music wouldn't take me around the world, I would take my music around the world. So when I found out that I was going to be moving, I was actually kind of excited. When I got there, it was a little difficult because being an American in a former Soviet country, they expected me to be rich and have money, and you know, they wanted me to pay them for practice and, you know, dictate every note that they played. So it was a little different. I did finally find a couple of guys that were willing to work just to be part of the music, and that worked out well because through a couple of different acquaintances, we knew the food and beverage manager at the Intercontinental Hotel who got us a sponsorship from Heineken. Most musicians in Tashkent were making $1 a day. We made 20.
Wow.
So, you know, it wasn't much, but for them it was a big deal, and they could basically make a week's wages in one night with me.
What did you see were the differences in the music as an industry overseas versus in the US?
Everything that you would learn about the Soviet Union growing up, that's how Uzbekistan was. It wasn't organized by any means. All the rock bands that I found, it was underground. And I was kind of able to bring them out, but as soon as I left, I'm pretty sure they went back underground because it's just not accepted in that country.
So it was probably not what we're used to as far as people gathering together for performances and shows and festivals and things of that nature.
No, it was very rare to find a show or a festival or anything else. When you did find it, though, it was just full of energy and excitement, and just people were so excited to see something different. I mean, like the biggest name that came through there when I lived there was Dido.
As a writer, did it kill your spirit at all to be in that environment?
No, actually, I think that's where some of my best writing came from. That was also the beginning of the end of my marriage, so it might have had a little bit to do with it. It was a little bit angrier writing than what I normally do. But I think a lot of, I mean, I put out probably, in the 3 years that I lived there, I put out 2 full-length albums. One of them, I was the only musician on. So I think it actually did have the reverse effect on me. It just kind of inspired me to do more with music and try to bring it out to people.
Met her on the side of the road, she had a thumb in the air. California dust in her stocking, Jamaican weed in her hair. Said I go as far as you take me, so won't you give me a ride? Said I never been much for a thing, yeah, so baby hold on tight. Baby open the door and I'll blow your mind. Put your foot on the floor and let's make some time. Just how far she led me, or why she told me those lies. Don't remember just when she left me, or when she told me goodbye. Spend the rest of my life contemplating the brightest stars in her eyes. I was a game she sure could play me. I like a turn at the dice. Baby, open the door and I'll blow your mind. Put your foot on the floor and let's make some time.
So how did you determine that Americana was the perfect genre for your music?
Well, you know, in our little bio, it says it's a schizophrenic world. I would consider myself the schizophrenic in that world because I don't stick to one style of music. And because I'm doing, you know, rock songs with country influences and country songs that have rock influences, and you can hear the influence in everything that I'm doing. And then I found Americana as a genre, and I'm like, well, originally it said anything that doesn't fit into rock or country. Now it's become its own genre, and it's still pretty messy because it goes from all these different things, but I kind of fit in there. And
Absolutely.
you know, especially now that I've got these guys working with me, and whenever we're recording, I'm like, you've got my influences plus his influences plus his influences, and it just kind of all melts together, and so you can't pinpoint it, so it just falls into Americana.
With the 6 pins.
With the
Pinpointed with the 6 pins.
I didn't catch that pun.
So let's talk bass.
Okay.
How low can you go?
I asked you the first instrument you'd ever picked up, guitar.
Guitar.
So when did you decide that you wanted to try your hand at something different?
When he
Well,
sucked that guitar.
Exactly. I didn't get into music or starting playing until I was in my early 20s. And for some reason, I just decided I wanted to start playing guitar, and I went and bought a guitar and tried to play and was horrible at it, and tried to play again and was horrible at it, but I just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. And when I moved to Nashville, one of the guys I work with said, well, Nashville is full of guitar players. You need to be a bass player. Everybody's looking for a bass player. And I'm thinking, okay, why didn't I think of that? So that's when I picked up the bass.
So no one in your family played music
No.
or encouraged you to play
No.
music. It was just something that you kind of just
I-
picked up because you loved
I just wanted to
music.
do it.
Yeah.
And I was horrible at it, but I wanted to do it so bad that I just kept at it, kept at it, and kept at it. And it's a work. When I learn new songs, I have to work at it. I'm not one of those guys that Oh yeah, it's just in my head, and here it is, and just spit it out, and there's a hit song. It don't work. I've never written a song. I cannot do it. I cannot. I've tried. I cannot do it. It doesn't work.
Do you feel
for me.
that you have grown as a musician since
Absolutely.
you played with these guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's a journey.
Exactly. Right.
Tell us about your journey.
Drums were really an outlet for me as a kid, but it was kind of weird because I'm and this is going to sound really crazy. I'm more comfortable on stage in front of several hundred people than I am in a smaller environment because I feel more vulnerable, I guess, like that. Where the on stage, I did stand-up comedy for 10 years. The on-stage persona of Butch was totally different than the off-stage, and it was almost like putting on a uniform to go to work, and then as soon as you got off stage, you took it off.
Well, you also got about a foot of wood, metal, and plastic between you and the next person.
Yeah.
That's
so-
true.
As
Yeah.
a drummer, you're protected by
Right.
the kit. But as a stand-up comic, it's just you and a microphone.
And I loved it. Loved it. I got burnt out on it. I did it for 10 years, traveling all the time. But I tell you the thing that I learned about stand-up comedy. It taught me, number one, how to read a room, how to give people what they want, and being able to respond very quickly to what they want. But it also taught me that the really good comedians write constantly. They're always writing, they're always creating. And unlike this, I mean, we can play the same song for the next 10 years and people will say, okay, I like that song, it's a great song. You tell a joke one time, haha, it's real funny, I've heard that, and figure out another one.
It's a lifestyle that not everybody can do, and you don't always feel supported. You don't always feel that you're valued and that people really enjoyed the experience.
And that's where the parallel comes in between what he used to do and what he's doing now, is that, you know, there's times where we get to a club or VFW hall or wherever we're playing, and they'll come up to us afterwards and they're like, you're the best band that's ever played here. But while we're playing, they don't make a sound. They don't clap between songs. They're just kind of looking at you like, okay, play the next one.
There's a
talking
lot
about
of
reading the
times
room,
people don't know
so
how to, they don't know
that's
how to react to
disappointing.
live music anymore.
Yeah.
It's disappointing when you're on the stage and you're providing the entertainment, something that you're putting your heart and your soul in,
we just played a
and the
place last
audience is
week.
like blank-faced. But then what a surprise for them to come
And
up.
Alan turns around and looks at me and goes, oh man, and then we come off stage and they're just like, you know, buying CDs,
When
wanting
can
us
we
to
have you
autograph
back?
this. What,
Like,
you know, what do y'all got
you like
open in
this?
October? You know.
But here's the thing, here's where I differ from these guys. Whether they're into it or not, I just enjoy it. I love playing. I just love to play.
Waking up all alone, it's just one more shot of tequila. It's just another tear drop on the floor. Hidden behind the mask, not sure there's much real me. How can this charade last? All you know is what I want you to see. It's just one more shot of tequila. It's just one more morning waking up all alone. It's just one more shot of tequila. It's just another tear drop on the floor. And I'm the lonely one, don't know what you don't see. When will I feel love? There must be more for me. Spent my time alone, forgot how to trust long ago. So I put on a show, the only comfort I know is just one more shot of tequila. It's just one more morning waking up all alone. It's just one more shot of tequila. It's just another tear drop on the floor. It's just one more shot of tequila. One more shot of tequila.
So as far as the music that you guys are creating right now, do you think that it's beyond what you thought you could do? Or do you think you still have some boundaries to push?
I will always have a boundary to push. It is beyond what I ever thought I could do when I first started. If I don't feel like I can push myself further, then there's no point in writing anymore. So, you know, if I'm sitting down writing, it's not that I'm trying to do something different. It's I'm trying to write something, or I've got something in my head that needs to come out. And, you know, when it's like that, it's just the basic, and then I'll give it to Alan and he'll do his thing, and I'll give it to Butch and he'll do his thing. And then I hear it all together, and then suddenly in my head I'm hearing, you know, violins and accordions and all kinds of different instruments that I would never have used. I think I'm hearing so much more in the past 5-10 years in my head that has to come out. And like, there was one song we're working on, and I've got it in my head. He's not hearing what I'm hearing, so he thinks this is just going to be an acoustic song. And I'm like, no, I need you to do more on the drums, do more. It's gonna, trust me, you know. And so now he's hearing it partially. It's not complete yet because it's on the next EP, but he started hearing a little bit more. He's like, okay, now I'm getting what you're saying. And you know, so it's like the boundaries are being pushed in that I'm orchestrating a little differently than what I would have done in the past. It's definitely always evolving.
I don't know, I feel like I've gotten better in the last year than I did in the previous 10 years, because like Alan said, being in a band, these guys push me. They raise the bar. Hopefully I'm raising the bar a little bit for them, and it's I think we kind of support each other in that. And Will, I'll say this in front of him, and he'll owe me money when we're done. I think he's a phenomenal songwriter, and I think that inspires all of us when we go to record. I don't want to let that song down. I don't want to overplay that song, but I don't want to let that song down. And I think what he was alluding to is I felt like, oh man, such a gorgeous melody to this song. I don't want to get in the way. And so I was laying back because I heard it different. And he said, no, it's going to be really full and kind of a galloping, or, you know, it's moving on. Okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
and
he
so it's been
anticipated
that
your
much
part.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
needed
and
it.
that's the thing with me too. It's forcing me to be a little bit more creative too, and learn a lot more than I would normally teach myself.
But the
That is
cool
so
part is
exciting.
he's given us, like I said, given us the freedom to do that.
Yeah.
And I've always had tremendous amount of respect. You know, Steve Smith, the drummer for Journey, or Neil Peart that we lost earlier this year, or Charlie Watts that we just recently lost with the Stones, is hearing them play is one thing. Then you go back and think, he had to think of that too. That was always the part that blew, you know, playing it's one thing, but having to think of it is another. So the creativity of getting just a blank track of this is the, you know, the form of the song, you fill it in, has been a whole lot of fun.
Well, it's fun for me because it's exciting for you. And the fact that you want to take lessons and you want to continue to dig deeper and be better and learn more is amazing. So my question would be to the young Will and Alan and Butch, if you could see your young selves, what would you say to them now that you wish you had known then?
So yeah, I would say to myself, to anybody that's starting out on as a musician, you know, don't pigeonhole yourself. Learn multiple styles. Because even if you don't want to play that style, you can incorporate that into what you're doing and come up with something fresh and new and exciting for someone else.
Right.
And if I was going to go back and tell myself, you know, tell my young self or give my young self any advice, it would be don't give up. I mean, because I've told myself many times, man, you stink at this thing. You need to stop doing it. But just keep doing it. Keep working. I mean, if you want it that bad, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep working at it. Don't tell yourself it's hard. You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's hard, but don't tell yourself that you can't do it, because you can. I mean, I'm living proof of that, ain't I?
Sure.
All right, Butch, what would you say to young Butch?
I would probably have two pieces of advice. Number one, we kind of touched on, is that it's all about the music and not about your particular instrument. It's how you fit in with the group. The other would be nice to everybody.
Absolutely, especially in this day and age with social media. The
Sure.
world is very small.
Yep.
Very small.
Very easily shoot yourself in the foot.
You burn a bridge, there's somebody right behind you on that bridge to take it and take it right behind you. So, yeah.
Well, I am thrilled to learn about the journey that brought you here to us today, and cannot wait to see where the boundaries take you from here.
Thank you.
He was headed out west on 40, hell bent to leave it behind. He stopped to take one more look around at the Arkansas state line. She was finally ready to get out. All she needed was a ride. And when he pulled into that Memphis truck stop, she knew that it was time. She said, I don't need no diamonds or pearls. No, I've never been that kind of girl. Can you hear it? It's never gonna stop. Can you hear the ticking clock? Don't know why you're running, and I've no room to talk. But can you take me as far as Little Rock? They spent the next 6 months laughing and walking hand in hand, both of them finding something the other one never had. She said, I don't need no diamonds or pearls. You know I've never been that kind of girl. Can you hear it? It's never gonna stop. Ticking clock. Don't know why you're running, and I've no room to talk. But can you take me as far as Little Rock?